Okay, so here we are back in Sports Corner, another episode this week. This is our fourth one. We're back with the NRL, looking at a particularly bad injury known as a Lisfranc fracture. Just our disclaimer again, we're trying to be a bit quicker with this time because I'm sure you're all sick of it, but basically I'm an orthopaedic surgeon. These are my opinions. I am qualified to give these opinions, but I don't know the players that are involved. I don't know the organisations. I've not assessed the players. And the opinions I give here are my opinions, but they should not be substituted for medical advice. If you think you have a similar injury, I advise you to see your doctor. Alright? So we're looking at NRL round 7, and a particularly bad injury that happened to the Canberra Raiders, Corey Horsburgh. Now is well publicised his reaction to the tackle, which I unfortunately can't show here, but what he sustained was an injury called a Lisfranc fracture, which is an extremely serious injury and will put him out for some time, and there he is there. So what exactly is a Lisfranc injury? Well, a Lisfranc injury is partly a ligamentous injury, so what's called a soft tissue injury, and partly can be a bony injury. So the drawing we've got on there on the left with the red bar, that's the Lisfranc ligament, and that's the one that's on the back of your foot. It's not quite as strong and is often injured, but the one on the underside of your foot, which is on the right in the green, that's the strong one, and that's called the plantar Lisfranc ligament, and if you injure that one, you're in a fair bit of trouble. Now, Lisfrancs can be really obvious, like this one, where some of the bones dislocate. That's what's called the tarsometatarsal joints. They've gone, the ligaments torn, and the joints are dislocated. Or they can be really subtle, like this one. Now, we're going to zoom in here, but basically where those red lines are on the x-ray, they should line up, they should be parallel, and what's happened is the bone has moved very subtly, and that's why this injury can be often missed, unless you're an orthopaedic surgeon and looking at them all the time. It can be difficult to pick up, and up to 20% of them are missed on their initial presentation, so you've really got to be looking for them. The unfortunate thing is, if they're missed, it can cause you a lot of trouble, a lot of issues down the line. It can affect your sporting career and all sorts of things. So what happens if it's missed? Well, you can get painful osteoarthritis. Now, we go into osteoarthritis in one of our other videos, but arthritis basically means your cartilage wears away and you've got bone on bone. And the worst thing is you can actually get what's called a flat foot. So your arch of your foot can collapse if the injury is bad enough, like this person. So what we're going to draw here is where the arch should be. There should be a gap there. This person is flat to the ground. So, this injury is very serious. Now the mechanism, how do you do this? So here's Corey's injury. You can see that player's pulling down his legs straight into the ground, and he's actually trying to get up on the ball of his foot. So you have what's called an axial load. So an axial load being applied straight down to the floor, and a plantar flex foot. Now what that means, we're going to draw here, up on your tippy toes. So Corey's trying to do that. You can see that there, and an axial load is being applied by the tackling player, and that's how he's done the injury. And it's pretty serious. He would have been in a fair bit of pain. He really would have struggled to walk off the field. Now, it's important you guys then know what to look for. So you'll have pain over the top of the foot, usually in that red area there. But the big thing is if you've got any bruising on the bottom of the foot. Medical people term this as plantar stenosis, just to confuse people. But all that means is bruising on the underside of the foot. If you've got that, people need to be looking for a Lisfranc injury because it's very serious, right? It's what's called Pathognomonic, which means very often is there if you've got that type of injury. Now, Corey probably got what's called a weight-bearing x-ray, or at least an x-ray. It's difficult for me to know what I exactly show, but it might have shown something like this. So basically on this x-ray left here, the bones don't line up. Where the arrows are, the bones don't line up. And if I want to make it more clear for you, I'll show you this x-ray on the right here. We've got some lines there. Now those yellow lines and the red lines, they should be roughly in line with one another, but you can see they're tilted off to the side, and that's because the ligaments there have been injured and the bones have moved. We'll often get a CT scan to get a better look. We're going to zoom here in a sec. You'll see a fleck of bone off there, and that's partially where the ligament is torn off, and the bones don't really line up as they should. So often a doctor will get that, or a surgeon will get that to get a better look at what's going on. Now the unfortunate thing is that unless it's just a sprain, which is pretty uncommon, and you would pick that up on an MRI, the treatment is surgery. And this patient I actually did a couple of weeks ago, and this is what the surgery involved. It's pretty extensive. This patient had multiple plates and screws and wires, and usually this hardware that you put in there needs to stay in there for 3 months and needs to come out again, about 3 months down the line. So the key thing for me as a surgeon, and will be in Corey's stat, is that you have to get the bones back to where they need to sit. And how we term that in surgery is anatomical alignment, and that's just us trying to sound smart. But all that means is that we need to get the bones back where they normally sit, right? That helps to reduce your risk of getting that painful arthritis in the future. That's our whole aim. Now, the important thing is, when's he going to be back? When's he going to return to play? Well, the sad thing is here, studies have been done on professional sportsmen, and the average is actually about 28 weeks. It's a long time. So whether we see him again this season is hard to know. And the other worrying thing is, even if we do the right thing surgically, almost 2/3 of people have some sort of residual pain, and we often have to do another surgery to get the hardware out, just so you can move properly and you don't break it. So it's a very serious injury. The good thing is that most people return to sport if they have the surgery and it's caught in time. So that's our episode for today. It's a pretty sad injury. Hopefully Corey gets back, but come and see us at hunterfootneckle.com.au to learn some more information. Thanks.